first time I had my first community life experience, for me, it made me understand that that is the place where people go to die and be reborn. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a chrysalida. It's a place of rebirth. Hello guys, welcome to one more episode of our podcast here in Atma Aayur, a community in Brazil that is based on the principle of mastery of the soul, of a cosmic consciousness that are alive. And we are here to create a new earth. This is our vision, this is our commitment to it, to ourselves and to the group that are here. That this is not just a community, it's just a first community on a network of many places that will be grounding this new earth, this new consciousness, this new way of being. And this podcast, Connection of the Soul, is here to invite ourselves, talking to each other, inspiring each other, and you to be part of this process of co-creation. And at this moment is happening through this podcast. So we invite you to send your love, to send your questions, send your messages to us with thematics, answers that you would like to propose, or even if you want to be participating in one or other episodes, we can have you here with us from afar, you know. So we invite everybody to be participating, and in this episode, it's just me and Vinicius, right? In our episodes in Portuguese, we usually have more people participating. And today the talk is a little bit more soft, simple, although all the time that we have conversations that end up very deep, right?
Yeah.
So today we're gonna be talking about living in community life. It's a simple thing. So Vinicius, you are experimenting a community life.
I am.
I believe for the first time here, right?
Yes, like this, yes.
Oh. Here is Sananda, and Sananda, I have experimented many community lives, right? I started like 10 years ago, the first one, and I have been to many communities. So for me, it's like I have a huge spectrum of things to compare and to say, but you are maybe very well positioned to talk about this experience because it's your first one, right? It's something very fresh. So tell me a little bit how it is for you to live in community, man.
It's very different than what I imagined. It's very different.
Oh.
Because when you are out there, you see only the highlights, you know, or people talk only about the highlights of a community.
Oh.
And they are true. Mm-hmm. They're very true. Like having the community life, you know, like having these group talks all the time when you want to talk with different people that think alike because they think different and they understand that people think differently, and that's okay. So that's like, it's not every day that you meet a person like that. Before I was always seeking for this kind of connection. Okay. Seeking for this. Okay. And once I found it, I would stick to that person and kind of create my little group, you know. Here it's like all the time there are people like that, so it's like, okay, this is everyday life. And that is a highlight, that is true. Having less worries about what am I gonna do tomorrow if I have to work. These things, I was like, whoa, if I can be free of that, my life is gonna be perfect. But through that, you have more time with yourself. That's like, you are in a community full of people doing a lot of work, you know. If you want, you can like stay the whole day doing very different things, but you face yourself all the time. Because nobody's telling you what to do. Here, you know? Nobody's telling me like, you should do this, you should work. No, I decide. So if I decide how my day is gonna be. And if I decide, I cannot blame my boss, I cannot blame my family, I cannot blame anybody.
You cannot throw guilt around, right?
Exactly. And that is like, okay, so my life is how I want it to be. And if it's not as good as I want, it's because I am choosing wrong, or I'm choosing not so wisely, and then I meet myself everywhere. So that's how we go deep, guys. Sorry. Yeah, but this is not like my overview of it. That it's the highlights, they are there, but the experience is not about them. They are just one aspect, and I could say one little aspect of it that is amazing because it makes you feel very good, like because you maybe romanticized it, you thought about a lot about it before, and then you leave it, and then it's amazing because that energy flows within you, but it passes, and then after that you meet yourself, and it's the best thing is just that you look around and everybody is living the same thing as you.
Beautiful, man.
It's living the same thing as you. And you see so many different aspects of how to see the same place, and then you look at that and then you see that it's not a place, it's not the work, it's not the tasks, it's always your view on it. So that's it for me, That's it for me. Like how I see it, not how I live it. How I see it. That'll be that.
Yeah, I think community life, it's a very unique thing. When the first time I had my first community life experience, for me, it made me understand that is the place where people go to die and be reborn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a chrysalida. It's a place of rebirth. And the first communities that I have been, they are all very not healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could go past the negative and understand that they were not the new earth, they were not the new reality, but they were the place where the people who would create the new reality would go to be transformed. You understand?
Yes.
Because we cannot outgrow society completely immersed on its belief systems, right? Because society is what is because of a conjunction of belief systems.
It's too strong.
Yes, and emotions, right? Because society revolves around this anxiety of lack. I have to be more. I have to become something. So it's a constant anxiety and emptiness. Because that's how we sell the idea of movement. You have to move constantly in order to have something. So you generate movement by creating the lack. If people are complete and fulfilled, they will not cross the ocean to colonize new continents. If the people are connected and fulfilled, they will not create factories and spaceships. They will be people of the land. They will be happy, right? They will be here, grounded. So the society become very good in being productive. So if you want to see the peak of production, we have to look for our society. If you fancy having, we have to stay in society as it is. If you fancy being, we have to create something new. And society has a lot to teach us about being productive. Not all of it is wrong or bad, but also teaches how crazy it can become. So what I'm saying is because the first mistake that people do when they go away from society is to not understand that society lives inside of them, right? So they go to your community and they want to keep doing. They want to still be doers. They are still having this emptiness inside of them for doing stuff. Make sense?
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
And they want to fulfill this emptiness by achieving something. So they were convinced to be achievers, right? Even in American society, in the movies, they have this loser, winner mentality that is not present in all the world, but it's a contamination of our way of being, right? And this contamination creates this fake perception of reality. That we have to work and do stuff to fulfill some sort of void of self-respect, self-appreciation, of I have worth, I have value, I have worth because I am a doer. So people go outside of society, but they keep carrying this wound of being doers. Right? Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. I was just thinking of those movies from the US that I watch, that the father or the mother says like, son or daughter, right? how many $1,000 does this person make per year? Like the possible partner, you know? Like how much? But why is that important? Like even like
That is relevant. Yes.
Yeah, it should be on the table. You know, should be, but not as the first thing. You know?
It's part of the equation, but
it is, and it is important if you're living the society. So I'm like, okay, to not think like that, you cannot be in that. You cannot be in the society, and
you can, you see, but it is almost impossible.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. You know, like it's like trying to do extremely heavy and difficult exercise in the worst possible place. You know, why? Why to do it inside society? It makes no sense. First go and become strong, and maybe then you do for a test, do in the wrong place, in the hard place. First try and do it in the best possible scenario. You prepare yourself to success in this sense, right? Let's play with the word success. You know, so prepare yourself to be successful in your own inner transformation journey.
It's like trying to learn how to swim directly in like the middle of the sea.
Yeah, go to rough seas. Yeah, perfect example. Yeah. So in our society, everybody prepares for everything. Do a university, do a preparation course, do whatever, blah blah blah. You know, why don't you prepare yourself for be happy, to be fulfilled, to be complete? And in this sense, a community is the right spot, right? You know, and why is that? For you that are listening and never experimented a community, because community is full of shit. Actually, yeah, that's the truth. Because community is full of shit. Because first thing you're gonna face is that there is no such thing as a perfect place, right? And then you're gonna face that the perfect place is created by people doing something inside. There's not a place. It's not a perfect person. Is that people who do something and make the effort of becoming something else, and then all of those things that are difficult, they can become just part of the landscape, and they stop happening. You know, I have been in communities, man, that things were insane.
Yeah, you talked about it.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
You said that here you can do everything you want, right? This is by design. This is by intelligence, right? By experience. We created here a new way of leadership. It is inspired in other people work, inspired in my own experiences when I was young entrepreneur, and I created a company that was different, that was owned by the employees. That was the idea. Never worked back then, but the idea was sound and beautiful. But here in community life, it does work, right? But I have been in community, there is a leader that tell you how to dress, what to eat, and you know who can have a relationship with like you can have a relationship with that guy or that girl. With that one you cannot have a relationship. So there is someone deciding everything. And again, I don't think this is wrong. Okay, I will not judge this. But it has action and consequence, right? You create dependent people that are not completely fulfilled, but you created people that are free of responsibility, right?
That's already a step.
No, free of responsibility. No, I think self-responsibility is the way. Okay.
Now I understand.
Now I understand. Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah, they have this.
So it's a step back.
It's not a step back. It's just a respite of being responsible for everything in my life. Now I have someone being responsible for everything. And that can be very comforting, right? And comfort sometimes is what people need. You need a space to just, okay? And they will have to face demons inside a place like this, right? And that will be growth. Even if there is a leader saying everything that you have to do, right? And if it is an enlightened leader, it can be amazing space for transformation. Like Trigueirinho in the Figueira Farms here in Brazil is a huge spiritual leader. He did amazing transformation.
The little trigger.
And he did a lot of beautiful things for a lot of beautiful people that have been transformed in those communities. But it was kind of like this, you know? So it's not necessarily something negative. right? But I believe that the new earth, that's what we are creating here, happens when people are free, right? And freedom is not about doing every shit that comes to your mind, but freedom is being free of yourself, free of your beliefs, free of your emotional wounds that keep repeating. And out of those releases, out of those liberations, when you're free from yourself, you can become a creator of a new reality, right? Otherwise you would just be a reflection, right? There's a lot of people that fight against society. Like there's this ideology that is very hurtful for the growth, that against patriarchy, and this creates a lot of wounds inside people, because we cannot fight the masculine. We need to honor the masculine, but the beautiful masculine. So it's not about fighting against what is wrong, but supporting and admiring what is good.
Yeah. Because that is not all wrong. There are parts of it that are wrong, but if you go to a fight against that,
you become. That's a spiritual truth that all the time that I saw it became. Always, every revolution failed miserably and became more despotic and tyrannic than what they opposed to. So every revolution in history, everything that happens in the form of resistance and fighting against, created worse things that they replaced it. Right? So not fighting against, but putting everything that you are in favor of. It's a very different way of being. This is the enlightened masculine. This is what we must favor. It's the same about the feminine. There is the shadow feminine, and there is the beautiful feminine. And feminine not about masculine and feminine people or gender. I'm talking about energy in our body and the archetypal aspects of it, the symbolic meaning of all of this.
We can talk about it in another podcast.
Yeah, go deeper into it. But go.
No, I wanted to ask you, imagine Sananda, imagine me, I'm a person, the person that is listening now, and I would like to ask you, how did you adapt it that you just said of not resisting to this community, this community in Taiyao that is being built up now?
Amazing.
How does it work?
Well, the first thing is that to understand that whatever you do must come out of respect. Out of respect, honor, and love for what came before. This is a systemic knowledge, If I fight against the system, I will create something worse. So I'm embracing the system, celebrating the beauty of it, learning with its mistakes, and take the beautiful lessons. The same thing when we create a community, we must honor the feminine and we must honor the masculine. So to create a new seed for a new society, we have to do new rituals, new ways of being. How we do stuff here is different. Right here we honor the feminine. So we try and not be moved by coffee. We try not and be moved by some kind of stimulation all the time, forcing our body to work every day. Right? People who does this, they become violent. They need to express the anger of the feminine that is being submitted by force to move. They have a leash out. I know this because I can see energy and emotions move inside people. You also have this ability now very well dilapidated. So we can sense when someone is anger or full of hate, and they will have to find a way to move that energy. If they are not conscious, they will fight with someone. If they are conscious, they will have to stop and meditate and move that energy consciously. But the mind, the ego, is here to serve the feminine, the wounded child. So the ego will bring amazing reasons, very good excuses to be mad with someone. All the time I'm mad because I keep drinking a lot of coffee, and I need someone to fight with from time to time, because this is what I am accumulating in my system, because my feminine is resented with my masculine by forcing myself because of ideas. So if I'm not fighting with myself, because I cannot self-destruct, that the ego will not allow, I will fight with some outside masculine. and I will keep fighting with some outside masculine because actually my feminine is mad with me.
Oh.
You see?
Yeah.
So that
Because
is a lot difficult to understand.
That energy has to be expressed
It has to be expressed, yes.
in order for us to exist.
Yes.
Like we are just an
Yes,
expression of an energy, and to exist we have to express, and if we suppress the feminine,
We become sick or we will explode, do something very insane. You know? That's why people need to watch violent movies, horror movies, terror movies, terrible things, terrible movies today. Why? Because they are frightening themselves all the time with a terrible narrative about the world is gonna end, the climate will be destroyed, Earth will no longer be, humanity is blah 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 blah. They are frightening themselves all the time, and this narrative about the world ending is already a symptom of a narrative that they learned when they were very young, and mama and papa said, if you don't go to school, you're gonna die of hunger. So the parents move the child out of fear. If you don't go to bed now, the monster will come and blah blah blah. So there's so many narratives of fear with child.
and that's just like the highway for energy. Like every time I use these narratives, I go to the highway, and then it's like,
it's
I have energy
moving.
to move.
Yeah.
So if I have fear,
forced movement.
I'm like, I woke up, I am not feeling so good. So I tell myself like, but if I don't move today, if I don't do this today, I'm gonna die of hunger.
Yeah.
So
exactly. It moves.
Then I go. I go, I create, and then at the end I feel good about myself. That's actually the needs.
But the moving energy to fear is kind of depressing. Right? So people tend to upgrade this to anger. So they hate their boss, they hate someone at work, they hate their father or mother to prove that I am be successful, you know? Sometimes the mother and the father they don't care so much. They want you to be successful, but they don't really care so much. But inside of my narrative, I hate them because they only love me if I'm successful. So I'm using my parents to feel anger, to be able to move. Because probably, I saw this happen already, okay, with someone that I was helping, that actually, she thought that her mother hated her, but her mother was so much inspired and admired for her courage to do what she was doing. And when she saw this, she was completely distraught because she had to face that all the time she was creating a mother that hated her to move. Okay? Then she could hate back instead of see the mother that was admired and full of love, you know? So how to reconcile this with a community life? Because that's the thing that you asked, right?
Yeah.
That here we understand the mechanic and nature of creation of the universe and how people operate. How can we create a society without understanding the pieces that compose society? It's impossible. Here we understand how humans operate. Here we understand how they work. So if you want to create peace, we have to create peace inside, not outside. If we want to create a human being that can live in peace, we cannot have a human being that is constantly forcing himself to move out of fear, anger, lack, okay?
Because that's the opposite, that's the other spectrum.
Or chemical stimulation. Okay, they will not able to exist positively in reality. It will not be possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to, because why they won't be possible? Because they will create tension and fight. Okay, they will create situations to express those emotions. Okay, if I want to be a hero, I need a villain. Okay, this is imperative. If I want to be the savior, I need someone that is sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will find sick people. I will find villains to fight against. I will find. So this is very easy to understand.
Yeah.
When you have a little bit of conscious. Make sense?
Yes, and once you just it's a fun example, but once I started understanding it, I watched the Avengers Ultimatum, the last movie, right? And when Captain America he gets the Thor's hammer and he moves it and he can actually use it. It's like 2 or 3 movies, or I don't know, 5 movies before, he could move it a little bit, right? And then why could he move it then? Because he was the soldier that didn't want to fight anymore. So that was the only thing that was missing in his heart. Like that he didn't want to be the soldier anymore. He just wanted peace. So when he wanted that in that last fight, he could actually become the god. So and then once you start like having this inner narrative that is different, you start seeing movies and situations and people in a different way, perspective, and then you can move these energies that will become like anger and a fight later in a different way.
True.
You know, just because you understood this in a different way too. So it's like taking some steps back to see what moves within you here in the community, right? Like every time I have to I have to lead something, you know, I am the leader of a project, or like in the communication, right? I have to first think about how I feel, think about the other person, how the other person is feeling too, and understand that the symbiosis of those energies, they will create my reality, and through that I will have to kind of like deal with that after, you know. So do you want to say something?
Yeah, because I want you to give a step back and think about people that are very rich and in rich countries, right? I saw this so many times that they see people from like they try to find people in misery in the world to help. And as I can sense energy moving, they do this out of a huge guilt from being successful. Okay? So they're trying to compensate an idea of guilt, because I have everything and they don't. And this person, when they move the energy like this, they are not creating a beautiful reality. Their actions may bring some good results, but this is not how we create a new earth. Right? We cannot be out of guilt. So this emotional quality inside, because they will keep creating situations where they can feel guilt about it. You keep creating stuff to do to compensate the guilt. So they create the misery unconsciously.
Yeah.
Right? So if we are all God creators, right? We have to learn how to create. We have to learn what qualities inside of us create a new reality. And that comes back to community life, okay? So our engineering of how we do stuff here operates with that understanding. So why we have a shared leadership, why everybody here is a leader, and why everybody here has to kind of look for the empowerment space and to share this leadership in a way that is self-responsible and supportive. And many people fail to do that and have to learn to do that. Sometimes because they want to be the authoritarian leadership, or because sometimes they don't have that inner self-trust to allow themselves to commit mistakes and then to fix them, right? They don't want to be on the spotlight, right? There's all of those things that must be integrated, but we cannot have a society that is free while we put a leader there to do everything, and then we can point the finger to them and complain, you know? Oh, I have nothing to do with that. I created that leader. That's my thing. Now I'm complaining about him. This is my creation. This will never work. You have to be responsible for what we are creating.
Exactly.
Okay, this is the thing that people don't understand. They create their leaders and then they complain about them. They just to move their resentment to their own inner leadership.
That is not being manifested.
Or lack of good guidance. They are not being good guides of themselves. They are being authoritarian with their feminine. Every feminist is very authoritative with themselves. You know, they talk about feminine in terms of bodies, in gender, very little in terms of energy. And they even become more masculine and hurtful than what they're trying to depose. As we say, what we resist, we become. And many, many beautiful persons I met quit that movement because they understood this. Nobody came from outside and tell them this, because they started to see clearly, right? It was a learning experience for them. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that living in community, we cannot play victim, right? But there's a lot of communities out there that I saw and I visited that was based on fighting against society and many patriarchy, or fighting against capitalism, and they were very sick. They were very unhealthy, very toxic for people that are living there, you know. But you say, no, so there's a terrible community, Sananda. No, they're toxic and very unhealthy. But because of that extreme of that narrative, people who were passing through that, they would open their eyes. Say they would quit a very unhealthy narrative and say, this doesn't operate. But here is not a learning experience through that shit doesn't work. Here is a learning experience by doing what it works. And I'm not saying that Sananda, that it's me who has this, that envision these tools and these processes, is the ultimate truth, right? But this is the most advanced technology that I could gather passing to communities all around the globe and studying this for more than a decade.
Yeah.
Okay? And before this decade, I was already trying to create different kinds of companies. And before that, when I was a kid, I was channeling stuff that was very different. So when I was a kid, I was asking myself, how can I change society? With 11, 12, 10 years, I was already asking this question.
Channeling, for who doesn't know, who is not like used to terms.
Okay, it's a spiritual term. Channeling is when I can connect to the source of knowledge that is beyond my body or my capacities at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So something would come and talk through my mouth, through me, that would leave an imprint of sensation, of frequency and knowledge, right? So channeling is when I am a vessel of knowledge for something beyond. And this beyond can be of many qualities. So it's a learning process to learn to anchor that quality to the frequency that I want to connect to, right? But there is this very evolved part of me who is giving me information for a long time, right? So it's a process of learning to trust and see the beauty of being feminine, being passive, right? Because I'm just there, a vessel, right? And honor that beautiful masculine that comes and leaves something beautiful in me, right? It's a very feminine position. And to trust. So I became a very good channeler as I became more feminine. And there is a lot of channelers that prefers to relate to men, okay? Because then it becomes like everything mixed up. But it's not necessary, because all of us can be very feminine and very masculine, and that has nothing to do with our sexuality and how we operate in life. But because of society, things are so mixed up, I could easily have gone that way, you know? But I learned to be more feminine as a vessel of some higher energy and higher frequency, and how to be complete in that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I would say 80% of the channelers that I know, they prefer to relate to men. Okay, when they are men.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
They have a preferred relationship with men. So it's a passive state, and a passive state that requires trust in the masculine. Okay, otherwise I cannot channel. If I am afraid and I don't trust, then I cannot channel this energy. So what I'm trying to tell you is that creating a community for you that are listening that is actually healthy and is improvement over the present society, okay? It has to be conscious. It has to be out of the understanding.
Yeah.
So here we have rules, right? Have rules, written rules like laws, right, in the community. But before the rules, we have the principles. Because this was channeled, the principles, and they explicitly say something like this, that when you understand the frequency of a principle, when you have an understanding, a conscious understanding of something in a deeper level, you don't need the rules, because you will know what is right in each moment. So religion is someone that is not channeling, it's not there, trying to translate what someone that was there was doing. Right?
Yeah.
But that person that was actually there, they are in a state of flow. Because every moment has its medicine.
So it could change from time to time.
Yes, of course. What is perfect now is not perfect tomorrow. What is good for this person will not be the best medicine for that person. You know, it's like Occidental medicine that is very narrow-minded, and Vedic medicine that has this deeper understanding that every illness is subjective and is not related just about genetics or something like this. It's about food, is about environment, is about heat and cold inside the body, is about past lives. Is much more complex in Vedic medicine, right? So to become awake, conscious, the next level of humanity, the new mankind, require people that can operate in a level of principles, not in a level of rules, right? Religion is about rules, right? Society is about laws, right? We are creating something that's based on a deeper understanding that every part of the puzzle holds everything. We are holographic. So it's not required. Sananda is outside of here. Everybody can hold the candle. We're not there yet, but that's the idea.
That's how fast we can change, right? That would be evolving, right?
Yes.
So I saw something, I thought about it, I acknowledged it with like my full conscious, my full focus, concentration, and then I change to the new consciousness. Let's say that my new consciousness that can solve that problem. So the first one saw the problem, amazing, saw the problem. That's what this one could do. So I look at the problem, I change, I go to a new level of consciousness, solve the problem, then there is a new problem in that, and then I just constantly change. So that would bring us to a fast changing. Fast changing.
Yes.
Like
and
faster.
This way that you translated that sentence of Einstein, right? That the consciousness that see the problem is not the consciousness that solves the problem. It's the miracle of transcendence, of elevation. You see, there is a non-problematic frequency, the frequency of the absolute, right? When you're completely in the present moment and harmony, nothing is problematic. Okay, everything is as it is. So we're not engaged in the problem anymore, and the problem is just something that we can see, and we're not magnetizing from the problem something. That's like I were talking about people that they need a very good excuse to express their anger, and that anger is on that frequency, and they are seeing problems to fight against because they are in that frequency. When they go to a level of frequency higher, there is no more need. It's just gone. If they go back to that, it's there again. Okay, so sustaining a frequency, sustaining an inner state, it's sometimes a non-problematic reality. So I'm trying to say that from a higher level of consciousness, there is no degradation on Earth. Okay, tomorrow Earth can be completely restored, tomorrow. But it requires that the subconscious of the collective be in that frequency. And it's not. So the climate change will not come out of action. This is insanity, you know. This is the way of thinking of the system, the doing, is still trying to solve the problem with doing, you know, and not operating in the miracle level.
Yeah, but it comes from doing. So
it's related. Yes, of course it is. Yes, a vicious cycle. Yeah, and they will keep creating new problems. You see, they will keep creating new situations to fix. Because this is the problematic way of seeing reality. I seek problems to revalidate myself or to compensate my guilt. I have everything. Now I have to have something wrong with the planet because I have to express my guilt of having. You see, like I was saying, people who have guilty about wealth, they have to express some misery in the planet for them to compensate.
And nothing more natural for somebody who's immersed, right, in this society.
Yeah, because they become addicted to it. Hypnotic state. And when we come to a society that is different, like Atma Aayur, like the community, it's to break that hypnosis, okay, and to create new ways of perceiving reality, of doing stuff. Then we're creating the new Earth.
And like everybody can keep, like, just you who are listening to it, you can keep your values, you know, like it's not gonna change. Like that you want something to be better, like you want society to be better, you want nature to be at its full potential back, you know. Like you can still fight for that, not fight for that, work for that, then, right?
I think that it's not the way that I would describe it. I understand what you were trying to say. I would say that allow yourself to be transformed in this situation. You know, it's like the caterpillar hide behind leaves, hides in the shade, is afraid of birds, right? It tries to be mimetic, tries to be green, like leaves,
Uh-huh.
right? And they're always afraid and congregate together out of protection, right?
Yes.
When they become a butterfly, they are very colorful. They are flying in the open, and they are no longer in the shade. They are in the sunlight. They are the spotlight. They are the beauty of nature. How would it be for a butterfly to behave like a caterpillar? She would die. It's no longer possible. So this makes no sense for a butterfly to have the same values as a caterpillar, right? We have to allow ourselves to be transformed. So if we want to have a new earth, an earth that is free of sickness, an earth that is free of global climate crisis and stuff like this, you have to release the problematic.
Yeah.
So if you to go to your communities to attach it to the idea that the earth is dying, you are part of the problem, not part of the solution. And this is very hard for people to understand because they are addicted to the idea that they are doing something by acting outside.
And there it leaves their value. Like my self-worth is there because I'm doing something. So
otherwise I feel guilty. Because that's the guilty trip that our society is based on. Keep doing, do something, otherwise you're not valuable.
Yeah.
And that is what destroys us.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's destroying the planet? What is destroying the planet is not our outside behavior, is our inner behavior. That is being translated by outside behavior. I'm trying to say that every climate problem that we are having here, by a little bit more deeper thinking and a little bit more ingenuity that we are very much capable of as humans, we are very good at it. We could have created different ways of doing things that would have no repercussion for nature. But why we didn't do it? Superficial people try to blame leaders and blame, the blame game. Because they don't understand a deeper level that could not come out of that humanity, because that humanity need a guilt trip. They need to complain and to have leaders that are not as good off. They need to have these greedy executives to complain about. So they're creating their misery. And they think that they will fix it by fighting against these people, take them out of that place, and they are just creating more misery.
What if then just thinking, what if one of these people were like putting us as if we were doing that, right? Like we instead of fighting, we change ourselves. We go to a community, we change ourselves, we become like this beautiful butterfly full of colors and joy and magic. And then we meet one of these leaders that are actually leading a lot of people to something that is not so good, that is out in the outside world. And those people see in us something different and change because of who we are.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's not the leader. The leader is just a reflection of the collective. So people that are hating and fighting against the masculine will create a masculine that is very toxic because they are fighting against it. Okay, and people are fighting against the masculine right now because they hate the masculine that they learned, that they are carrying inside. They hate themselves, the inner narrative, how they see reality, but they keep seeing the reality in an uglier and uglier and uglier version. So they are creating uglier and uglier and uglier masculines. And they keep resisting and fighting. And that's the way how we change, right? We create so much misery that sometimes say, no, fuck, this cannot keep going. The heck I'm doing? I have to stop everything and change. This is the nature of things. I have to create the misery to transform, right? So it's not the leader that it is. He was never the thing. The leader was never the thing to look for. He will be there as long as there is people giving their energy, and especially out of resistance. They receive much more energy out of the resistance than from appreciation, because there's not so many people really appreciating those leaders. There's much more people hating them. You see? And this hate is creating that person. And I have been in positions of leadership where I could sense people throwing at me magnetization. They were asking me to be something that I immediately said, oh no, No, I don't want to be that. That's not who I am. So be exposed as a leader is to have to deal with a lot of energies that people throw our way.
Yeah.
Okay? So people want to have enlightened leader, become enlightened. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not even thinking about that, being that.
Yes. Okay? Then you say, well, but then taking your beautiful question, because there's the other part, how can we inspire change, right? So then I will tell you, by doing what we're doing, man. Yeah, because we have family, we have friends, we have you that are listening to us. Probably you already are the change, but some of you never heard of us. Some of you are just falling here out of a paraglide.
Yeah.
Just falling here.
What are these two guys talking about?
Yeah. What is Atma Aayur, this community? What is what they are creating there, you know?
Yeah.
And for you to understand that you have to be transformed. Your way of thinking and perceiving reality was what creating the problem in the first place. You have to become the change guy.
Yeah.
Or a beautiful girl, whatever you are, beautiful man, beautiful girl that are listening to us, you have to be the change. Okay, the beautiful thing that you are must be open like a flower, accept new ways of thinking, let go of the old stuff, right? Be like the caterpillar that becomes a butterfly, you know? So, when we want to generate change, I am the one who needs to change. Okay, the caterpillar could fall in love with the flower and look for the flower, never be able to be something different. I was born and I died as a caterpillar. But the way that she became like the flower, that is the transformation. Why flowers? Why nature creates something as beautiful as a flower? There's no need. There's no real need for a flower. But in one moment it manifested itself. Right? And what is the butterfly? It's the same thing. It feeds out of the flower. To become like the flower, the caterpillar needs to go inside a deep, profound change. Maybe one day the caterpillar was just a caterpillar, you know, and lay eggs, and caterpillars will grow and die caterpillars. But one day, some miracle change it, and then it becomes a chrysalida, the place of transformation. This is Atma Aayur. This is the community.
Yeah.
And then the butterfly arises and no longer feeds out of the leaves, but now it comes from the nectar. The most powerful thing in a flower, the sweet, beautiful nectar, the seed of life. Wow, right? It's the same thing that happens in the community, man. Creating communities is a space where you, me, all of us can operate in a different level. You see, and having the opportunity to be in so many communities is the opportunity to see all the mistakes and all the things that they did right also, okay? And to learn why those mistakes were there. And what I learned from all of this, me personally, is that there's nothing more important than transforming the people. That's why it's spiritual. Because technology of transformation is a spirituality. Psychology is in the process of fixing people. Spirituality is in the business of transforming people, right? Co-opting the word business, because there is no business, but the idea is that we are transforming people, right?
Yes.
So, how a community can really be the new earth? It must be focused on inner transformation. So if you want to be part of a community, look for one that's talking about transforming people inside. Okay? Try to look for those that are looking for create something not out of resistance, but out of inspiration, out of passion, out of love, out of appreciation, out of understanding, out of connection. Not out of connection, but out of wanting to be connected, right? Not to have a mistaken word here. Be connected to your feminine. Be connected to your soul. Be connected to the earth. Listen to the earth. The earth is not singing the same music that society is singing. When we connect to Mother Earth, she's not saying stuff like society is saying. She's saying beautiful things. She's singing the new earth.
Yes.
Mother Earth is not singing misery. She's singing beauty and passion and love and creation. She's calling us to be creative, right? So look for communities where you find those energies, right? And if you're not finding any of those, join us. You
Yeah.
know, let's create some wherever you are. Be part of the group. That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Be part of the change. Don't be part of the problem, man. Be part of the change.
And what I would say, we're wrapping up.
Oh.
Yeah. Just that we said in the beginning, like, oh, we're gonna try not to go so deep. But all of these that we talked about, that Sananda said also, it's behind. We try to have it behind every action,
Yes.
and every task, and every connection, and every talk we have during the day. When we cook,
Oh.
when we go outside to care for our animals, when we go plant a tree, we're thinking and we're vibrating in the same way that this talk has vibrated and has changed us, you know. So there is no way of talking about this community without being deep, because that's exactly what we're doing.
It's
here.
a deep thing, yeah.
It's a deep thing, and it's very cool to be doing very simple things and knowing that they are simple in a way and amazingly complex on the other way.
Yeah.
And that seeing the both aspects, it's what gives you joy. It's what gives me joy, you know, to work every day. So one day, like this is a Sunday, it's a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
kinda, you know, and we're recording this podcast with the same energy that we would, I don't know, clean the house.
Yes.
You know.
It's a lot of love. And
Yeah, with a lot of love, and the intention of doing it with the best intention and the best of us all the time. And when we are not capable of, we try again and again, because we're going to become better and change and become better and change.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel from this community.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been looking for, and now I found it.
Oh.
That would be my...
Thank you, man. And just to be very open and honest about these guys, all of this is a deep, profound technology, is very pragmatic, many levels, many complexities and subtle things that comes with it. And to learn to respect ourselves, not to force when we have a family that don't want to move, even if you have the best narrative, the beautiful movement inside. And a part of us wants to relax, we relax. And when there is a beautiful sunny day and we are elevated, we go and operate and we give the best that we have.
Yes.
So it's to respect the rhythms and everything that is alive inside of us, around us. This deep, profound respect for what we are. This deep, profound love is what generates an understanding and a clarity that actually becomes something new. So we have all of these technologies and this understanding that probably we didn't be able to translate, that we're not able to translate, because it's so much more than this. But we are open to share everything freely, because we are here to create a new earth. And this is the new earth sharing. Okay, so I love you guys. I love you guys for listening, for being here to do something about it. We are trying and we are doing. Here we are moving this energy for more than 1 year, and me personally for more than a decade. So lots of love, lots of passion, lots of understanding, lots of joy, lots of co-creation. Woohoo! See you guys next week.